This right here is the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the benchmark when it comes to design, refinement, technology and innovation. And this is going to be a full detailed review of a 2025 model, and there is a lot to cover. So before we start, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to stay up to date. But for now, let's get straight into the review. Let's start off with a brief overview about the W223. Now this is the type of vehicle that you are going to compare with the BMW 7 Series and the Audi A8. And in terms of the model range specific to Australian specifications, you have 3 different variants to pick from, with the option between a short and long wheelbase, depending on the version you go for. Now, in terms of options, you have a wide selection of external colours, wheel designs, interior colours and trim inserts, and there are also various packages to choose from, which means the S-Class is very configurable. And finally, a big thank you to Sandersons Rushutters Bay, who have allowed me to test drive their S450 demonstrator, and they have a professional sales team, and they're also the most knowledgeable when it comes to any Mercedes-Benz product. And if you would like to get in touch with them, I have shared their details in the description below. And if we now move on to the styling, the external colour of this example is finished off in emerald green metallic, and in terms of the front features, this comes with full multi-beam LED headlights with automatic high beam assist. And if we look over in the centre, you've got the classic traditional 3-pointed star on top of the bonnet, and not to mention the classic Mercedes-Benz radiator grille, and that is finished off with these chrome highlights. You also get a black Mercedes badge in the centre there. And finally, for Australian versions, the S450 comes with the AMG body styling package as standard. And if we now take a look at the side, this car is sitting on 21-inch AMG multi-spoke wheels that come with this black and silver two-tone finish, and the wheels themselves are wrapped around in Pirelli P0 tyres. There are also ventilated disc brakes on the front and at the rear, and of course not to mention the optional rear axle steering. And in terms of other key features, there's more chrome down on that lower section, chrome surrounding the window frames, a panoramic opening glass sunroof, flush fitting door handles, projector LED surround lighting that also projects a Mercedes-Benz logo, and you also have a walk up and walk away door unlocking feature. And finally, looking over the B-pillar, dark tinted privacy glass. And if we now take a look at the back, the S-Class features a set of rear LED taillights, which also entails this 3D animation effect. You also get chrome on that top section and 2 chrome exhaust pipes integrated within that rear diffuser. And now moving on to the interior. So before you climb inside, the S-Class comes with a remote key. You also get soft closing doors, keyless entry and go. And you can also download Mercedes Me to access remote functions. And finally, a fingerprint scanner to access all of your information stored within your driver profile. Now, in terms of the presentation, what a nice place to be seated. There's Nappa leather everywhere, and it is a nice combination of luxury and innovation. And in terms of build quality, the door slam feels very solid. And in terms of materials, you get an AMG line Nappa leather steering wheel, quilted leather on the doors and soft padding where you rest your elbow. And the seats are finished off in exclusive Nappa leather in black, and that is complemented by the high gloss black wood trim. Over on the top here, that is also soft Nappa leather, even on the lower section. Soft leather padding in the centre, and the dashboard is also finished off in soft Nappa leather. And finally, the roof lining is finished off in microfiber. Now moving on to comfort, the steering offers electronic tilt and reach adjustment, and you've also got climate control with these touch sensitive controls, plus a dedicated climate menu within the infotainment. You also get seat kinetics, lumbar support with multiple ways to adjust the bolsters, electric seat adjustment with memory, seat heating and seat ventilation, and you've also got a wide selection of massages to choose from. And if we now move on to technology, this all runs on this 12.8-inch touchscreen, running a system called MBUX. And it may look very daunting at first, but this system is really easy to use, and you can also navigate through using the touch controls on the steering wheel, or you can talk to it. So, hey Mercedes,
How can I help?
Change the ambient lighting to red.
Okay, I'm changing the colour.
Now moving on to some of the key features, there's inbuilt satellite navigation with 3D mapping, and as you can see that looks pretty crystal clear. And additionally, augmented reality for the satellite navigation, and that is going to project arrows onto the screen. There's also a 710 watt, 15 speaker Burmeister 3D surround sound system. And if I go back into the main menu, into radio, you've got AM, FM, DAB, and if I go into media, Bluetooth and USB connectivity. And for smartphone integration, wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And over on the top here, as you can see, an inbuilt dash cam, which again is a very useful feature. You also get ambient lighting with the choice of 64 different colours. And if I slide the top section here, that will go into your fuel consumption menu, your vehicle and engine information. And as you can see over on the left hand corner, the car is connected, so you can download software updates without going to the dealership. And like I mentioned, Mercedes Me connectivity, which gives you remote access to all of the car's functions. There's also an SOS button over on the top here, and a button here to connect to a Mercedes Me concierge. Now moving on to safety, if I go into the camera, as you can see, you get a 3D 360 degree camera system, and you can also cycle between different angles around the car, looking at your gutter view, for example. And if I go into parking assistance, this is going to tell you whether or not you are going to fit into a parking space. And this car can also parallel park itself and also perform a reverse park automatically. Now moving on to other safety items, there's an auto dimming rear view mirror. There's also an active lane keeping assistant with the ability for this car to steer itself within its lane. Adaptive cruise control that keeps you within distance between yourself and the vehicle in front, and that is also integrated with stop and go function. You also get autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitoring on the wing mirrors, safe warning exit assist, which will alert you if an oncoming car is coming your way, a lane departure warning, traffic sign recognition, attention assist, which detects if you are feeling drowsy. And looking down the bottom here, if I click on dynamic, this goes into your drive modes between eco, comfort, sport, sport plus, and individual to set up the car on how you want it to perform. Now moving on to this 12.3 inch screen in the middle, as you can see, it is configurable in terms of the information you want to see, looking at media functions, fuel consumption, navigation, and other key data. And if I click on this button here, I'm not sure that you can see this, but the screen itself goes into a 3D mode, which looks pretty cool in person. And you can also change the configuration between understated, sport, exclusive, which is my personal favorite, classic, navigation, assistance, and service. You also get a heads-up display on the windscreen, which you can also configure in terms of the information you want to see in front of you. Finally, for in-car storage, you have a decent sized center glove box. There's also storage behind this center screen, and if I open up this section, 2 small cup holders, 2 USB-C charging ports, a spot there for a phone, and a wireless phone charging pad. Looking over in the center, this glove box setup, which is overall pretty decent, and you get 2 USB-C charging ports. And finally, on the doors, decent sized door pockets that could fit a small bottle of water. Here in the back in the S450 short wheelbase, there's plenty of legroom and plenty of tow room. Considering that this front driver's seat is set in my position, there's also loads of headroom, and you can also electronically move the seats backwards and forwards, and also recline the bottom base of the seat forwards and backwards. You also get the soft cushions and a rear roller blind, which can be controlled electronically. Soft leather on the doors and more of that quilted leather upholstery at the back. And you also get electronic roller blinds for both the rear doors. You also get wood grain over on the top section here with integrated LED ambient lighting. There are also integrated air vents on the B-pillars, directional air vents over in the center, and down on this lower section, 2 USB-C charging ports. Behind the front seats you have these inbuilt aeroplane style map pockets, and on the doors decent door bin storage for a small bottle of water. The section here is blank, but if you do step up to the S580, that is going to get you dual zone climate control for the rear, and of course the extended wheelbase. And if I look over in the centre, a flip down armrest with leather padding and some wood grain. And if I open this up, more storage with 2 USB-C charging ports, and you've also got device holders and 2 cup holders. And if I dig all the way back here, that is your ski hatch to access the boot. And looking behind me, you've got more ambient lighting. And finally, for child seats, the 2 outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible. And right behind me, there are 3 top tether points. Right, moving on to boot space. So firstly, you can use a kick down function by swiping your foot underneath the bumper bar to open up the boot, or otherwise just use the button underneath that chrome piece, and as you can see, the boot is power operated. Now, in terms of space back here, you do have a wide opening and 550 litres of boot capacity, which does make this large enough for 1 or 2 large suitcases, depending on how you squeeze those in. And it's also worth mentioning that if you go for the long wheelbase version, that has 535 litres of capacity, which is a little bit smaller compared to this short wheelbase version. Now, in terms of key features, you've got a stainless steel section to prevent the rear bar from getting damaged. There are also 2 cutaway sections on either side of the boot floor. The right side is netted off to keep items separated. Shopping bag hooks underneath here, which is pretty useful. And there's also access to the rear seats through this load compartment section. And that is going to come in handy from when you are carrying a long object. And finally, if you lift up the carpet piece, that is going to reveal some underfloor storage, as the S-Class does not feature a spare tyre, but you do get run flat tyres and a tyre repair kit. And of course, finally, the fluorescent vest. And if we now move on to the powertrain, under the bonnet features an inline 6-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine that is linked to a 48-volt mild hybrid system, and also paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission, sending power to all 4 wheels through what is referred to as a 4Matic all-wheel drive system. There's also adaptive air suspension, and for ownership, Mercedes offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and each service is every 1 year or 25,000 kilometres. Right, behind the wheel in the new S-Class, what is it like? Well, first of all, you've got great visibility up front, good side vision, decent sized side mirrors, and rear visibility is also very good. And you might be thinking this might be a bit big and bulky for Sydney in terms of parking, but thanks to the rear axle steering, this is a very easy car to manoeuvre. The steering feedback is nice and direct. It is finger sensitive light, so you can turn the whole wheel with your finger, but at the same time it is very responsive, and also combined with the 4Matic all-wheel drive system, there's loads of grip. In terms of the ride quality, this sits on Airmatic air suspension, so you don't have any body roll, but at the same time it does give you that lofty ride. So as you would expect on any S-Class, the ride is really wonderful. There's hardly any wind noise coming into the cabin, and it's also a relaxing vehicle to cruise around in. And in terms of performance, it builds up speed pretty quickly. I think this inline 6-cylinder has more than enough power, but for the ultimate experience, the S580 would be a pleasure to drive with that twin-turbo V8. Moving on to driving aids, the 360 camera looks pretty crystal clear. I've also had to play with the adaptive cruise control. The lane keeping assistant didn't interfere, so nothing was intrusive from that perspective. Everything works well, and you can configure it to your preference. So if the parking sensors are a bit too sensitive going through a driveway, you can turn that down. If you think the automatic braking might come on a bit too early, you can adjust that. And finally, fuel consumption. Mercedes claims that the S-Class on a combined cycle will achieve 8.4 litres per 100. This, however, is a brand new car, so I can't really give you a proper figure, but I have driven this generation S-Class before, and from memory, I was able to average around 9 to 10 litres around the city, which is pretty reasonable, and on the open road, that figure should drop down to at least 7 litres per 100. So then, what is my final verdict on the Mercedes-Benz S-Class? Well, there's nothing really to fault. This is one of the best luxury saloon cars that money can buy. But tell me what you think. What is your opinion on the S-Class? Would you pick this or go for something else? You let me know in the comments down below. And of course, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to stay up to date with my latest uploads. But for now, I will see you in the next film. Thanks for watching.